Good day, class, and welcome back to Mathematics in the Modern World. For today, we'll be having Lecture 2, Mathematical Language and Symbols. Again, I am your Professor Jerome Tuzon, and I will try to guide you throughout the lecture number 2 entitled Mathematical Language and Symbols. Now, we have the following learning outcomes throughout the entire lecture. At the end of this chapter, the students will be able to discuss the language, symbols, and conventions of mathematics, explain the nature of mathematics as a language, perform operations on mathematical expressions correctly, its basic concepts and logic, and lastly, appreciate that mathematics is a useful language. Sir, bakit po ba kailangan ng mathematics? Why do we need mathematics? Well, first and foremost, the language of mathematics or the language, symbols, syntax, and rules of mathematics are used by mathematicians to communicate mathematical ideas among themselves. Much like any other language, yung gumagamit po ng mathematical language is the mathematician. Dahil sa atin, we Filipinos use the language Filipino. And in that way, kailangan yung Filipino natin or yung standards ng Filipino language ay dapat pare-pareho all throughout. Even if we have many other dialects, kailangan yung standards, yung meaning ng bawat salitang Filipino ay naiintindihan natin. Ganun din sa English. Ganun din sa kahit anong lengguwahe na maisip mo. Merong mga language, symbols, syntax, and rules na fina-follow na ginagamit ng mga tao na gumagamit ng salitang ito. Say for example, kung alam mo yung tinatawag nating scientific names ng mga species or different animals or plants, magtataka ka ngayon, bakit pa kailangan magkaroon ng scientific names? Kasi mahirap na isipin na, for example, yung, ano bang klaseng hayop? Usa. Ang usa sa atin, sa mga Amerikano, that's deer. And sa bawat ibang lengguwahe, iba pang gumagamit or iba pang salita para sa hayop na ito. Diba? At kung ganun lang din naman, gawa na lang tayo ng certain rules, certain set of words, and certain meanings para gamitin natin sa science, di ba? Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng scientific language, scientific names. For example, langaw, Apis brevigularis, yan, bubuyog yan. Bubuyog sa atin, sa kanila bees, pero sa atin, meron pa tayong mga pulupukyutan at iba't ibang mga tawag sa mga bubuyog. Mahirap, di ba? Mahirap din kung may sarili-sarili kang tawag. Kaya kailangan iisa lang. Iisa lang yung language, iisa lang yung symbols, iisa lang yung syntax, at iisa lang yung rules. At itong language na ito, kailangan ma-develop. Bakit kailangan ma-develop, sir? Kasi ginagamit siya ng mga mathematicians. Tayo, tayo as learners, tayo as a field of education, we are listening to the mathematicians. For example, sa business, meron din niya mga sariling set of rules, sariling set of language. Sa accountancy, meron tayong mga assets and liabilities. Isipin mo kung iba yung tawag nila sa assets and liabilities, di ba? Kung iba ang tawag, well, bakit pa tayo nagkaroon ng lengguwahe? Bakit pa tayo nagkaroon ng pag-aaral? The language is developed to communicate. And the language of mathematics specifically caters to the mathematicians that use the language frequently. This language consists of a substrate of some some natural language. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ibig sabihin po, ang mathematics ay isang application ng natural language. Ibig sabihin, ginagamit pa rin yung English. Pero, in mathematics, mayroong mga specific terms na alam natin ay tinatawag na mathematical terms. Gumagamit siya ng natural language, pero yung mga technical terms and grammatical conventions are peculiar to mathematical discourse. Ano ibig sabihin ito, sir? Ibig sabihin, although yung mga letters na ginamit sa mathematics galing sa English language, yung mga meanings ng letters na ito, pagdating sa mathematics, it becomes unique. And it is supplemented by a highly specialized symbolic notation for mathematical formulas. Diba sa algebra, alam natin na may mga letters, diba? A, B, C, for example, X, Y, Z. Or kung ano pa mga mathematical examples sa mga letters na makikita ninyo. Ngayon, sinasabi nito na, oo, may pinanggalingan yung mathematics, yung mathematical language. Pinanggalingan ito. One example is English. Pero, kapag ginamit mo or hinugot mo mula sa English and you apply it to the mathematical language, meron na siyang sariling meaning, meron siya sariling symbol and unique personality in mathematics. Kaya nga, di ba, pag for example, may sentence, tapos nakalagay sa find A, kung English ang pinag-uusapan, encircle mo lang lahat ng letter A, di ba? Or find X, hanapin mo lang lahat ng letter X. Pero dahil mathematics yung context, dahil ginagamit natin yung mathematical language, yung find X, ibig sabihin nun ay solve for X. Hindi siya literally hanapin yung letter X. Di ba? So, for example, gagawa tayo ng specific formula. X equals to Y. Diba? Tatanungin dito ngayon, find X. Kung pinag-uusapan natin English language, bilugan mo lang yung X. Diba? Bilugan mo lang yung X. Pero dahil ang context natin ay mathematics, meron na siya sariling meaning. Yung X dito, hindi lang siya letter. It is a representation of a number. At dahil representation siya ng isang number, ang ibig sabihin pala nito sa mathematics is to find X. Diba? Same yung sinabi ko, find X. Pero pag mathematics, ibig sabihin, gagamit ka ng mathematical rules, gagamit ka ng mathematical syntax para mahanap yung value of the symbol X. Yan ang uniqueness ng mathematics. Even if derived siya from another language, meron pa rin siya set of unique conventions, unique purpose, unique symbols. Mathematics as a language has symbols to express formula or represent a constant. It has a syntax to make expression well-formed, to make the characters and symbols clear and valid that do not violate the rules. Much like any other language, meron ding symbols ang mathematics. And itong mga symbols na ito, kailangan arrange to in a specific way na logical at naiintindihan according to the rules. Let's look at more examples later. Just take note na meron sariling symbols, meron sariling syntax, meron sariling rules sa mathematics. Mathematical symbols can designate numbers, constant. Say for example, alam natin yung symbol na pi, di ba? Pi. Pinag-aralan ito sa geometry. And alam natin ang value ng pi ay 3.1416, so on and so forth. So, meron siyang sariling symbol. And yung sariling symbol ng mathematics, meron siyang specific number that follows. Or meron mga nakalagay na constant. Tandaan natin yung ating first lesson. Ano ba yung Fibonacci number? Diba? Fibonacci numbers designated by phi. Hindi ganito Meron siya sariling phi, PHI, di ba? Alam natin galing yan kay Phidias. And ano yung value naman ng phi natin or sa Fibonacci number natin? 1.168. Kung di ako nagkakamali, di ba? Joke, mali pala. Hindi pala siya 1.168. Sorry, 1.168. 1.618. Diba? May mga specific symbols and lahat ng mga symbols na ito ay may mga sariling constants. Mathematical symbols has their own variables, operations, functions, brackets, punctuation, and grouping to help determine the order of operations and other aspects of logical syntax. Kaya tayo nagkaroon ng sobrang daming iba't ibang variables, operations, functions, brackets, punctuation ay dahil sumusunod ito sa sariling logical syntax. For example, yung parenthesis, in another language, iba ibig sabihin yan. Pero sa mathematics, ibig sabihin ng may parenthesis sa equation, yun yung uunahin natin, di ba? When solving. At paano naman natin nalaman, sir, kung ano yung uunahin when solving? Dahil meron specific rules, merong logical syntax na binigay when it comes to mathematics and mathematical language. Now, sa mathematics, meron tayong tinatawag na convention dictates meaning. Ano ibig sabihin nito, sir? Yung konbento nagdidictate ng meaning? Hindi po. A mathematical concept is independent of the symbol. Ibig sabihin, kahit anong symbol ang gamitin mo, kung may mathematical concept ka, kahit anong symbol, okay lang gamitin. Gaya ng denotion natin ng golden ratio. Yung golden ratio natin, 1.618. At yung kanyang symbol na ginagamit para ma-denote yung ating golden ratio or phi, PHI, wala naman talaga yung connection sa number na to. Yung mga mathematicians, ginamit lang yung symbol na phi to dictate 1.618, which is the golden ratio, ay dahil gusto nila. Dahil sinabi nila na si Phidias daw, yung kauna-unahang nag-describe ng golden ratio. They chose a symbol to represent the golden ratio. In short, convention dictates meaning. Ang ibig sabihin po ng convention dictates meaning is that when you choose these conventions, when you choose the symbols to represent the constants in mathematics, it does not matter kung ano yung symbols. What matters is that merong symbols na pinag-agrihan ng mga tao. May nagsabi, yung symbol natin sa golden ratio ay phi. Bakit? Kasi si Phidias yung gumawa ng golden rule. Okay. Sinabi ng ibang mathematicians, sige, agree naman ako sa'yo. Yung mga pinag-aagrihan ng mga mathematicians, lalong-lalo na in ancient times, yun yung naging basis of our language in mathematics. Convention dictates meaning. Ibig sabihin, yung pinag-agrihan yung pinag-usapan, yun yung magbibigay halaga sa mga symbols na ito. Kaya lahat ng symbols sa alam ninyo sa mathematics, tandaan nyo, hindi yan bunga lang ng panghuhula. Hindi lang yan bunga ng isang tao na trip niya itong ganitong symbol, sige, gamitan niya yung symbol na yan. Hindi po. Pinag-agrihan po yan ng different mathematicians and ginawa nila ng convention and hindi ko sinasabi na kita-kita sila para sa isang convention. Ang ibig sabihin kasi ng convention, ito yung pinag-agrihan ng mga tao. Ito yung ginagamit palagi ng mga tao. And there are many symbols in mathematics that are from conventions. At tandaan nyo, lahat ng ito ay ginawa ng mga mathematicians to represent certain meaning para gamitin nila in the mathematical language. For example, sinabi ko nga kanina, parenthesis. Diba? In a parenthesis, sa English language, iba ang ibig sabihin nito. Ang parenthesis sa English language ay nakalagay or nakalagay dito usually yung meanings or certain out of character explanation. Pero sa mathematics, pag may parenthesis, ibig sabihin, yun ang uunahin mo in the operational sequence. Yung quotation mark, iba rin po ibig sabihin yan sa mathematics. And there are, hindi ko sinasabi na lahat ng galing sa English. There are unique symbols in mathematics lang. May mga symbols naman na mathematics lang. Di ba? Gaya ng percentage, infinity, summation. Kung titignan nyo, galing yan sa Greek language. Pero ngayon, mas alam na natin yung ibig sabihin ng mga symbols na ito in mathematics kaysa sa language na pinaghugutan nito. That is how powerful the mathematical language is. Kasi ginagamit ng tao. At hanggat ginagamit ng tao, mag-evolve na mag-evolve yung mga symbols according to the research and according to the convention of mathematicians. The language of mathematics makes it easy to express the kinds of symbols, syntax, and rules that mathematicians like to do and characterize by the following. How do we characterize the language of mathematics? What are the characteristics of the language of mathematics? Unang-una, it is precise. The mathematical language is able to make very fine distinction. For example, the use of the mathematical symbol is only done based on the meaning and purpose, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Ang mathematical language, it is precise. Bakit? It is not subject to misinterpretation. Other languages, gaya ng for example, Filipino, sometimes hindi precise ang Filipino language. For example nga lang, kumain ka na. Di ba? Pwede siyang tanong, pwede siyang utos. And marami pang iba't ibang bagay. For example, salamat ha. Pwedeng sarcastic, pwedeng sincere, pwedeng nang aasar, pwedeng hindi. Subject to misinterpretation. Pero ang language of mathematics po will always be precise and will always have a specific meaning. And it is not subject to misinterpretation. Next, it is concise. It is able to say things briefly. For example, meron tayong long English sentence na nakalagay na 8 plus 2 equals 10. Ba? Or minsan nakikita ito sa sa mga kinder. I have 8 apples. Joanna took 15 of my apples. Diba? Nagkautang pa pala ako sa palengke. Pero sa mathematics, it is concise. Sir, paano mo nasabing concise? Kahit ang basa po natin dito ay 8 plus 2 equals 10, ay kung titignan nyo lang yung symbols, at kung familiar kayo sa symbols, you do not need to read them aloud. Therefore, the language of mathematics is very concise. Next, powerful. It is able to express complex thoughts with relative ease. Ang application nito ay sa critical thinking at sa problem solving. Isipin ninyo sa accountancy, meron tayong assets and liabilities. Isipin nyo kung wala yung interpretation na yun. Diba? Isipin mo, ano nga yung mga ginastos ko? Magkano pa kaya ang panggastos ko? Ang daming problema sa isip. Pero dahil powerful ang language of mathematics, hindi mo na kailangan gawin yun. Dahil meron ka ng mathematical tools, meron ka ng mathematical capabilities, meron ka ng mathematical language na pwede mong gamitin para ma-solve yung problems na ito. Ganun ka-powerful ang mathematics or the language of mathematics. To a point that you do not need or you do not necessarily have to face problems without the use of symbol. Diba? Isipin mo kung wala yung addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. Tataka ka, for example, humihirap ka ng humihirap. Diba? At hindi mo malalaman kung bakit. Pero kung gagamitin mo yung language of mathematics, you would see kung bakit and you would have the means to adjust and to help yourself. Ganun ka-powerful ang language of mathematics. Now, when writing mathematical language as an expression or a sentence, meron din tayong specific rules, di ba? In every other language, merong specific rules. Sa mathematics, meron din po sarili. An expression or mathematical expression is a finite combination of symbols that is well formed according to the rules that depend on the context. It is a correct arrangement of mathematical symbols used to represent a mathematical object of interest. And it is an expression that does not state a complete thought. It does not make sense to ask if an expression is true or false. Class, ang mathematical expression, ito yung nakikita natin usually as an equation. At hindi natin masasabi kung true or false necessarily kapag expression. We need to interpret that expression para malaman natin yung truth value, yung truest, or kung true ba o false ang isang bagay. And gaya ng grammar in other languages like Filipino, English, Chinese, or kahit anong language na maisip mo, meron din po set of rules to follow ang mathematical language. Now, let's try to look at some examples of this mathematical expression. So, mathematical expressions, the most common expression types are numbers, sets, and functions. So, ito yung mga example ng mga mathematical expressions. Diba? Most commonly, ito yung mga numbers, sets, and functions, and so on. For example, 5. That is a mathematical expression. 2 plus 3, mathematical expression din yan. 10 divided by 2, mathematical expression din po yan. 6 minus 2, or parenthesis 6 minus 2 plus 2, or sorry, this is a typographical error pala. 5 to 5. Parenthesis 5 minus 2, sorry. 5 yan, 5. Plus 2. Or pwedeng 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. These are all mathematical expressions. And gaya ng sinabi natin before, hindi natin masabi kung true or false itong mga mathematical expressions na ito. Kailan lang natin masasabi kung true or false, sir? Mamaya po, papakita ko sa inyo. Pero, take note na itong 5 expressions na ito, ang ibig sabihin lahat niyan ay 5. Lahat ay nagmumukha or everything looks different. Di ba? Mukhang magkakaiba di ba? Pero in reality, those are all just different names for the same number. Lahat yan is expressed as 5. Everything or every expressions that we have is an expression of the number 5. This simple idea that numbers have a lot of different names is extremely important in mathematics. Sa mathematics lang po yan. Sa mathematics lang po yan na yung isang expression or isang number can be expressed in different forms. Can be expressed in different ways. Now, meron tayo kasi tinatawag na basic syntax for mathematics. Ano? The basic syntax for entering mathematical formulas or expressions is that in the system enables you to quickly enter expression using 2D notations. The most common mistake is to forget the parentheses. For example, yung expression natin na 1 divided by parentheses x plus 1 is different from the expression 1 divided by x plus 1, which the system interprets as 1 divided by x, close parenthesis, plus 1. Ibig sabihin po, yung mathematics natin merong set of syntax. Ano yung syntax, sir? Syntax is yung rules na nag-govern or yung rules na nag-govern o nagko-control ng mga mathematical formulas para ma-express ng matino, ma-express ng tama yung language ng mathematics. At isa sa mga pinakamalaking error when it comes to the syntax of mathematics is when you forget the parentheses. Now, balik tayo sa mathematical expressions. Marami kasing simple ranges or simple mathematical expressions. Let's try to look at some examples. 8x minus 5. Mathematical expression din yan. And that is a linear polynomial. Next, 7x squared plus 4x minus 10. That is still a mathematical expression. And that is a quadratic polynomial. Next, x minus 2 over x squared plus 12. That is still a mathematical expression. And these are all simple mathematical expression. Diba? And they are all rational fraction. Yung naman ilalim. Ano? This can range. Dahil nga alam natin na powerful ang mathematical language, kaya niyang i-express yung mathematical expressions in the most simplest form and even in the most complex form. Diba? Now, ito yung rules of mathematics. Ito yung syntax of mathematics. To express mathematical language, you need to follow the syntax. And alam natin in mathematical language, there are right formulas, there are right expressions, and there are not right expressions. So, for example, sa baba, yung expression na 1 plus 2 times 3 is well-formed. Easy to understand. Pero, alam natin na walang sense itong mga symbols na ito sa mathematics. So, mathematical expressions can either be right or wrong. Okay? They can either make sense or does not make sense in mathematics. Kaya nga, for example, magpasok ka ng maling formula or hindi matinong mathematical expression sa scientific calculator mo, lalabas syntax error. Yun po yun. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo sinunod yung rules sa mathematical language. Kaya sinasabi sa'yo ng calculator mo, syntax error. Diba? Try mo maglagay ng dalawang close parenthesis, x, or try mo i-input or ipasok yung symbols na ito. Pasok nyo yan sa scientific calculator ninyo. Tignan mo, lalabas, syntax error. Kaya po may syntax error kasi hindi mo sinunod yung mathematical convention natin. Yung mathematical language natin pagdating sa expressions. Next, we have mathematical sentences. Diba? Meron din tayong sentences pala pagdating sa mathematics. On the other hand, a mathematical sentence is the analog of an English sentence. Analog, meaning parang naka-pattern din as an English sentence. It is a correct arrangement, take note of that term, correct arrangement of mathematical symbols that states a complete thought. Sentences have verbs in English. In a mathematical sentence, yung verb is the equals. The action taken in a mathematical sentence or expression, in a mathematical sentence is the equals. Let's look at some examples. Ngayon, take note na mathematical sentence natin can be always true, always false, or sometimes true or sometimes false. Take for example, the sentence 1 plus 2 equals 3, it will always be true sa mathematical language. Palagi pong tama. Diba? Kaya nakikita natin yung precision ng mathematical language. Na yung isang sentence can be always true, minsan naman ay always false. For example, 1 plus 2 equals 4. In the mathematical language, that will always be false. Pero minsan, there are some cases na pwedeng tawagin na sometimes true lang or sometimes false. For example, yung mathematical sentence na x equals 2. It is sometimes true, it is sometimes false, pero magiging true lang siya kung 2 talaga yung value na x sa yung algebraic expression. Next. For example, dito, the sentence x plus 3 is equal to 3 plus x is always true. No matter what number is chosen for x. Now, kailangan mo maintindihan yung different properties. Kasi diba, meron tayong transitive property of addition. At dahil naiintindihan natin yung transitive property of addition, naiintindihan natin na yung sentence na ito, x plus 3 is equal to 3 plus x will always be true, no matter the value of x. So yan ang mga mathematical sentence. Now let's talk about mathematical convention. Ano? A mathematical convention is a fact, name, notation, or usage which is generally agreed upon by mathematicians. Nag-usapan natin before na the mathematical language is a product of convention, dictates, meaning. At ito yun. No? For instance, meron tayong fact na i-evaluate mo muna ang multiplication before addition. Yun ang convention. Yun ang napag-usapan na tama ng mga tao, ng mga mathematician. Ngayon, wala naman talagang significant na bagay sa order of operations. Kung anong unahin, addition, subtraction, o division, multiplication. Pero, yung mga mathematicians natin in ancient times and hanggang ngayon, they abide by conventions in order to allow other mathematicians to understand what they write without constantly having to redefine basic terms. Ibig sabihin, para lang sa ikaginhawa ng buhay ng lahat ng mathematicians, gawa tayo ng specific rules, gawa tayo ng convention, gawa tayo ng specific ways para ma-solve ang mathematical sentences. Dahil tama nga naman, mathematics needs to be precise. Dapat hindi siya open for interpretation, di ba? Yan ang nature ng mathematical language. Kaya, yung mga mathematicians, they proposed a convention. They proposed a way to solve mathematical sentences. Ano? So usually, ito yung mga symbols na ginagamit sa mathematical convention. Meron tayong addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, division pa rin, pi, infinity, equals, approximately equal to, not equal to, less than or equal, greater than or equal, square root, degrees, therefore. And ito yung mga convention na napag-usapan at napag-agrihan ng mga mathematicians na gumagamit primarily ng mathematical language. Ngayon, in that convention, meron pa tayo na dagdag. Yung operation naman. Kung paano masosolve, kung paano magagalaw, or paano mai-interpret yung mga mathematical sentences. Ngayon, in simplifying mathematical expressions, the following order of operations is one critical point to observe. Ito lagi yung sinusundan. Ito lagi yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng interpretation ng mathematical expression. It is the set of rules that determines which operation should be done before or after the others. Kung ano pong mauuna. For example, dati meron tayong tinatawag na MDAS. Multiplication muna. Bago division, addition, then subtraction. Pero, sinabi ng mga mathematicians, kulang to. Baguhin natin. It was changed to PEMDAS, which means parentheses, exponents, multiplication, and division. Then addition and subtraction. But now, most scientific calculators follow the BODMAS. Bracket, order, division, and multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Class, wag malilito. Uunahin yung bracket, sunod ay order. Tapos, sabay po yung division and multiplication. Sabay po yan. Sabay siya in a sense na kapag nakakita ka ng may mga symbols sa divide, multiply, divide, dahil nga sabay siya, ang gagawin mo lang po ay from left to right ang basa. Unahin mo lang yung mga naunang term, pero sabay-sabay po siyang sinusolve. Or at least yung division and multiplication, magkakasabay pong sinusolve. Iwan mo lang yung addition and subtraction dahil yun yung huli. Mamaya titingin tayo ng example. So dati, meron tayong PEMDAS and today we'll talk about BODMAS. Ano? Okay. BODMAS. Unahin natin yung brackets. Ano? Brackets, equivalent yan sa PEMDAS. Diba? So, ito yung override. Ano ibig sabihin ng override? Parang, teka muna, wag niyong pansinin lahat ng iba equation. Pansinin niyo muna ako. Pansinin niyo muna yung brackets. Ang una-una pong isa-solve in mathematical expression ay yung nasa loob ng brackets. Sunod, order. Kapag wala ka na nakikitang brackets, susunod mo na siyempre yung order. Ano order? Yung mga exponents po. Sir, paano pag may exponent sa loob ng bracket? Unahin nyo pa rin yung bracket. At pero dahil nasa loob siya ng isang equation or nasa loob yung order ng isang bracket, isosolve nyo muna yung order na yun. For example, 1 plus parenthesis 3 squared plus 7 divided by 7. Okay. Parenthesis uunahin. Palagi pong uunahin yun nasa loob ng parenthesis. At dahil meron tayong order sa loob ng parenthesis, uunahin mo po yan. Okay? Ang bracket or yung brackets natin, sinasabi lang yun na unahin mo yung nasa loob ng ng mga brackets or even parentheses. Next, sunod, kapag wala ng parentheses, pag wala ka ng exponent, ang sunod na pong isa-solve ay division and multiplication. Ano? Huwag kayong malilito, class. Yung division and multiplication, magkasabay pong ginagawa. Dahil meron silang equal importance. Pero kapag nakakita ka ng maraming division and multiplication, magtitingin ka po from left to right. At uunahin mo syempre yung mga nasa left papunta sa right. And it is followed by addition and subtraction. Magkasabay din po yan. At dahil magkasabay sila, isosolve mo yung nasa pinaka-left papunta sa pinaka-right. Now, let's try to solve some expressions later on. The order of operation or BODMAS is merely a set of rules that prioritize the sequence of operations starting from the most important to the least important. Step 1. Do as much as you can to simplify everything inside the parentheses first. Step 2. Simplify every exponential number in the numerical expression. Step 3. Multiply and divide whichever comes first from left to right. And step 4, add or subtract whichever comes first from left to right. Let's look at this example. Diba? Meron tayong parenthesis 11 minus 5 multiplied by 2 minus 3 plus 1. Nakakita tayong parenthesis. Ano unang gagawin? Simplify what is in the parenthesis. So yung nasa loob ng red the box, ito na yung simplification noon. 6, di ba? 11 minus 5. Ngayon, anong kasunod? Nakita natin yung mga symbols. Meron tayong multiplication, subtraction, addition. Unahin natin si multiplication, siyempre. At kapag sinimplify na natin yan, 6 times 2, that is 12. Minus 3 plus 1. At dahil magkasabay yung addition and subtraction, uunahin natin yung pinaka-left papunta sa pinaka-right. Di ba? So, solve muna natin. 12 minus 3, that is 9. 9 plus 1, that is 10. Ganoon lang po kasimple. Next. 4 minus bracket, 4 minus 2, parenthesis, 6 minus 3, close parenthesis, close bracket, divided by 2. Okay. Kapag may ganito, dalawang parenthesis, uunahin po yung nasa pinakaloob, palabas. Solution. Same equation. Simplify natin yung nasa pinakaloob, di ba? 6 minus 3. Okay, lalabas. 4 minus 2 times 3, close parenthesis. Multiplication to. Paano mo nalaman, sir? Kapag po walang symbol or parenthesis lang yung symbol, interpretation po dyan, according to syntax, is multiplication. So, ang mangyayari po, isi-simplify muna natin yung multiplication sa loob ng parenthesis. Kasi nakikita natin, di ba? May subtraction, may multiplication. Yung multiplication muna. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin, negative 2 times 3. That is negative 6. Okay. Now, 4, parenthesis, 4 minus 6 divided by 2. May parenthesis pa rin tayo. So, yun pa rin yung isa-solve natin. So, 4 minus negative 2 divided by 2. Ngayon, class, titignan po natin yung negative 2 divided by 2. Bakit yun, sir? Kasi, ang natitira sa atin ngayon is the subtraction and the division. Simplified na yung nasa loob ng parenthesis. Therefore, negative 2 divided by 2 will be equal to, malito. Typographical. Negative 2 divided by 2 will be equal to negative 1. 4 minus negative 1. Okay. 4 minus negative 1, we can interpret that as, wag nyo ito pansinin, class, 4 minus negative 1, ang solve po niyan ay 5. Okay? So, I hope that you understand the order of operation. Let's look at more examples. Simplify naman. 4 bracket 3 plus 2, bracket 6 minus 3, parenthesis 4 minus 9, close parenthesis plus 3, close bracket, minus 12, close bracket, plus 4. Okay. Again, pag may nakitang maraming pasok-pasok na ganyan, uunahin nyo na sa pinakaloob, di ba? In our case, that is 4 minus 9. So, kapag in-interpret natin yung 4 minus 9, that is negative 5. Ayun. Nakita natin na nasa loob ng bracket ay ay 3 plus 2, 6 minus 3, or sorry, nasa loob na susunod na bracket natin, ito. 6 minus 3 multiplied by negative 5 plus 3. Uunahin natin, syempre, yung multiplication. Di ba? Magiging positive 15 yan. So, 6 plus 15 plus 3. Ngayon, solve naman natin yung nasa loob ng bracket. Nagiging 24 po yan. So, mangyayari yung sa last bracket natin will be equal to 3 plus 2 multiplied by 24 minus 12. Okay? Nakukuha pa? Saan ko nakuha yung 24? Nakuha ko po yan dito sa simplification ng unang parenthesis. Bakit multiplication? Kasi po class, kapag walang symbol in between a number and the parenthesis, we can identify that as multiplication. Okay? Okay. So, 2 times 24, syempre, yun uunahin natin kasi multiplication yan, di ba? Above addition and subtraction. Mas nauuna yung multiplication. So, that is 48. Okay. Sa loob ng parenthesis natin, meron tayong 3 plus 48 minus 12. Ngayon, wala nang multiplication, wala nang division. So, add na lang tayo and subtract according sa pinaka-left papunta sa pinaka-right. So, that will be 39. 3 plus 48 minus 12 is equal to 39. Now, multiplication and addition. Ang natira sa atin. Siyempre, uunahin natin yung multiplication. That will be 156. Diba? 4 times 39 is 156. And if you add that, that will be 160. Ganun po mag-solve ng operations in mathematical expression. Let's look at our last example. Okay. Same case, titignan natin yung nasa pinakaloob. Okay? Solution, nasa pinakaloob muna. 12 minus 9. Okay. 12 minus 9 is 3. 2 times 3 dahil nga alam natin na kapag walang symbol dito, multiply po ito. Ano? So, 2 times 3. Okay. Sa loob ng ating brackets, 5 plus 2 times 3 plus 3. Siyempre, unahin natin 2 times 3. So, 5 plus 6 plus 3, that will be 14. Sa loob naman ng susunod na bracket natin, meron tayong 3 minus 2 multiplied by 14, tapos close bracket plus 8. Solve muna natin yung multiplication. Negative 2 times 14 muna. So, that will be 3 minus 28. And yung nasa loob ng parenthesis naman natin, isosolve natin. Di ba? So, negative 25 naman yun. Ngayon, dahil meron siyang kasunod na number, multiplication. Negative 4 times negative 25, that will be positive 100. 14 plus 100 plus 8 is equal to 122. That is the mathematical expression. And actually, that is our lecture number 2, or at least that is the first part of our lecture number 2. Ano? We talked about the operation mathematical expressions. We also talked about the sequence in which to solve mathematical expressions. We talked about mathematical convention, mathematical syntax, mathematical symbols, and even talked about the characteristics of the language of mathematics and how convention dictates meaning in mathematics, and that mathematics is a unique language. Now, let's proceed with our activity for the lesson. Ano? Here I present to you activity 1.2. Directions: make a Venn diagram to illustrate what are common and different between the English language and math as a language. Class, paano ba gumamit ng Venn diagram? In our case, nilabelan ko na. English language natin shall be A. At ilalagay mo dito yung mga elements, yung mga examples, yung mga definitions na specific lang para sa A. para sa English language. Ilalagay mo naman sa B or sa column B or sa part ng circle na ito yung mga syntax, symbols, grammar, examples na specific lang para sa math as a language. At sa gitna or dun sa overlapan ng dalawang letters, ang ilalagay po sa gitna ay yung mga common between element A or actually between the English language and math as a language. Again, meron tayong dalawang circle sa Venn diagram. Sa dalawang circle natin, nag-overlap yun sa gitna. Okay. Sa gitna, ilalagay mo yung mga common between English language and math as a language. Sa di ba, meron tayong gitna. And meron din tayong dalawang gilid. Yung isang gilid natin, ilalagay mo yung mga unique para sa English language. And in the other hand, sa kabilang gilid natin, ilalagay mo ang unique sa mathematics as a language. Now, class, if you have any questions, you are free to ask them in the classroom. You are free to ask them in the comment section of this video. And you are free to ask them in the activity that I will post in the classroom. I hope that you learned something today, and I hope that you understood mathematical language or the mathematical language. Next meeting, we'll be talking about mathematical sets and the continuation of mathematical language and symbols. I hope that you truly learned something today, and I'll see you next meeting. Goodbye, class, and take care.